Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Plant Pair channel. Today I want to dive into one of the most talked about muscles in fitness, the biceps. A lot of people want bigger arms, but here's the question. How do you actually grow them if you don't want to go to a typical gym? That's what this video is all about. I'm going to break down the exact exercises I use at home to target my biceps and some common mistakes to avoid. So if you're training at home and maybe only have a pull-up bar and a set of dumbbells, this video is for you. So let's start with the foundation, pull-ups. Most people label pull-ups as a back exercise, and yes, they're amazing for your lats, but done right, they're also one of the best bicep builders you've got. I like to make sure I use the chin-up grip for at least one hard set per workout, and since I train full body 3 times a week, that gives me at least 3 hard sets of chin-ups per week. When I choose to really focus on my biceps here, in this movement, I do my best to keep my torso upright instead of leaning back. So you can see on that first rep, I was just demonstrating how I might normally do this type of exercise with that arched back and leaning backwards. And then I switch to what you see now here, which is keeping my torso more upright. And if you want, you can absolutely choose to do all your pull-up sets with this grip, but just keep in mind, it can be tough on some people's elbows and shoulders if you're not mobile enough. So doing your chin-ups like this with your torso more upright obviously definitely focuses more of the stimulus on your biceps as opposed to your back. But don't get me wrong, your back's still going to work during this exercise, which to me is actually a plus as it's incredibly time efficient. All right, so the next exercise I love to do to focus on my biceps is the neutral grip pull-up. So a lot of times pull-up bars, especially home pull-up bars, don't have this neutral grip variation. So that's one of the main reasons I got these JayFlex CrossGrips for my doorway at home, because they allow for the neutral grip position. As you can see here, I demonstrated that first rep with a more of an arched back to focus more of the stimulus on your back, and that's how I do a lot of these pull-ups most of the time. But again, when I want to focus a set or reps on my biceps, I will not lean as far back and keep that upright torso position like I spoke about earlier. Neutral grip pull-ups hit the brachialis, which is the muscle right under your bicep. When that grows, your arm will appear thicker overall. All right, so next up are gonna be the isolation exercises. And you guessed it, they're curls. I don't currently spend a huge chunk of my workouts curling, but adding some direct arm work can definitely help if your goal is to grow your biceps. So first up is the classic standing dumbbell curl. I like to keep my palms up the entire time and do both arms simultaneously while controlling every rep. I try not to swing. I try not to rush the movement at all. So slow it down and take the sets to failure is what I would really suggest here. Even lighter dumbbells can feel heavy when you do this properly. The second bicep movement I like to do as far as isolations go is the incline dumbbell curl. Now, this one obviously requires an adjustable bench, but before I had one, I did this simply by just sitting in a metal foldable chair and leaning back slightly, and it worked just fine. So if you do have an adjustable bench, adjust the bench to a slight incline. Doesn't have to be way far back there. But yeah, just simply lean back and let your arms fall behind your torso. This puts the biceps in a really deep stretch at the bottom of each rep, which is obviously a big driver of growth. And that's it, guys. Occasionally I'll throw in dumbbell hammer curls, but to me, I feel like the neutral grip pull-ups cover that purpose well enough. So now, a few mistakes I see all the time with biceps training. Number one is chasing variety over consistency. You really don't need 10 different curl variations. A couple solid movements done consistently beat 20 half-hearted ones any day of the week. And number two would be stopping too far from failure. The last 2 to 3 reps where you're really struggling, that's where the growth happens. And this goes with all exercises, in my opinion, if the goal is growth. So take those sets to failure or incredibly close to if you can. So definitely the effort needs to be there, obviously. And number 3 is ego lifting. I'm guilty of doing this in the past for sure, but swinging dumbbells or letting momentum do the work trains your lower back more than your arms. So slow it down and focus on the muscles doing the work. I understand that plenty of big guys like to use more body English when curling, but to me, it's just not worth the risk anymore. So how does this fit into your week then? So depending on your starting point and your goals, I would suggest doing 1 to 2 sets of curls per session after your main compounds, which means across a week, you're looking at 3 to 6 total direct sets for your biceps. There's no reason you can't see progress with that amount of volume. Reps can be anywhere from 6 to 25. Lower reps with heavier dumbbells, higher reps with lighter ones. What matters most is effort, like I mentioned before, and getting to or as close to failure as you can. I really can't stress that enough. You need to be working hard each set to get the most out of them. You'd think that would be obvious, but I know a lot of people stop their sets as soon as they start to struggle and feel discomfort. So here's a simple template. Start with chin-ups or neutral grip pull-ups or both and do a few hard sets there. Then add 1 or 2 sets of a curl variation taken to failure. Do that 3 times a week, alternating which curl variation you do each session. And that's it. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated. Don't overthink it. Don't fall into the trap of thinking arm training needs to be some extravagant thing. Your biceps will grow if you consistently flex and extend your elbows against resistance and couple that with eating enough calories. It really is that simple. I've been lifting in some capacity for over 16 years now, and I can tell you that the basics never stop working. Stick to them, and you'll be happy with your biceps development. So to wrap it up, chin-ups, neutral grip pull-ups, and 1 or 2 dumbbell curl variations. That's really all you need to build bigger biceps at home. All right, guys, that's it for today. If this video helped you out, hit that like button, subscribe for more simple, no-nonsense home fitness content, and let me know in the comments, what's your go-to bicep exercise? All right, we'll see you all in the next one.